was very unusual. It was one evening like any other evening at work, and I was going back from having a cigarette back to my desk, and I felt a tingling sensation in my upper lip, and I thought, that's strange. I haven't eaten anything spicy. I haven't eaten cayenne pepper. I'm fond of spicy food, so I know what this does to you. So what was that? And I sat down at my desk and began to get pins and needles. I went and put my hand on the mouse at the keyboard. I would get pins and needles in my right hand. And then suddenly I began to feel pins and needles down on my foot and up the right side of my leg, and suddenly all up the right side of my face, my ear. And it was like drawing, my whole right hemisphere basically went pins and needles and began to go slightly numb. I hadn't lost power on the right hand side, but I could feel the numb sensation setting in. Have you ever had a sensation where you're falling asleep and you lie on your arm and you're waking up and your arm is just, the sensation is just coming back into it? The whole right side of my body felt like that. So I knew, I suppose from previous experience, that there had been some kind of a left brain event affecting my right side. So that was just some previous education, etc., that I would have had. So I knew immediately, go straight to A&E, which I did. And I was admitted, and I suppose that's really where my story starts. At the time, I thought this came from a stressful event that had happened earlier in the day. But as I began to investigate further and I got medical advice, it turns out that that stressful event was just a trigger, and that in fact it was to do with my lifestyle. And I'd been loading the gun for years of my lifestyle. And they suggested at the time, you should get involved with Croí. They have a My Action programme, why don't you get involved? Sure. I threw my eyes up to heaven and said, oh, I'm not getting involved with them. And, but 3 months later, they called me again and said, you should give this a go. We really think you'd benefit from it. I said, okay. Again, eyes to heaven, but I went in, and my wife came with me. She participated, I suppose, as support. And it really had a huge impact on our lives. I couldn't believe it from walking into the facility. Before that, Croí was just a name that you see in the street, another one of these anonymous charities. But coming into the facility here on the west side of Galway it's an extraordinary facility. They have wonderful staff. We got great advice and help from what I call our three musketeers, as Denise, Rachel and Therese. That's the medical nurse, dietitian, physiotherapist. They looked at all aspects of my loaded gun, my lifestyle. Before that, I would eat what I want. I'd drink what I want. I smoked as much as I wanted. I didn't exercise. And that was the loaded gun, rather than the stressful trigger that caused it to go off. It's easy to be skeptical and cynical about charities, etc., etc. This is an amazing organisation. Myself and my wife learned a huge amount. I learned a huge amount about my diet. I learned things about food labelling that I never knew before. I got to know my numbers. My numbers, what I mean by my numbers, are my cholesterol. My cholesterol was off the scale. It was up at 7.5 or something. For someone like me, I should be down well under 5, around about 4. My blood pressure was off the scale. I wasn't exercising. As soon as I began to exercise and they got me into an exercise regime, my blood pressure began to drop slowly. I began to lose a little bit of weight slowly. And it's about little changes, and they're not talking about going on a diet, and they're not talking about dramatic changes. It's little changes to lifestyle and little changes to your diet, and just awareness. And I suppose even now, it's about a year since I participated in the programme, but I'm still very much aware of food labelling. It takes myself more ages to get around the supermarket, because she's picking up a loaf of bread, and this is 6.5 grams per 100 grams of fibre. And I'm saying, no, but this has got 9 grams per 100 grams of fibre. It takes us ages to get a shopping done, and we nearly get kicked out of supermarkets for doing this. A lot of people give us funny looks and say, what are they doing, But food labelling was really, that was an extraordinary part of it. How to exercise, that was another extraordinary part of it. It's not just about getting your running shoes on and going out. There's a way to do it, and there's a way to do cardiovascular exercise as well. So diet, exercise, Therese then looking at my numbers, you know what I mean? She would phone me and say, Malachy, I want you to do, your blood pressure was high. I want you to do another test. I want you to wear a 24-hour monitor. Or Malachy, I noticed that your cholesterol was a bit up. your triglycerides were X, your HDL was this, and your LDL was that. Previous to that, I wouldn't have known what those terms were. I wouldn't have known about the components of cholesterol. But they taught me all this. And she said, your LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, is a little bit high. Your HDL, which is the good cholesterol, is also a little bit high, but I'm not worried about that. So let's have a look at this now. How do we get this down? What do you need to do? So I just learned a huge amount about my own loaded gun, how to unload it. How do I feel about my future? Well, I suppose I feel a lot more optimistic. I feel a lot more healthy. I feel better about myself right now and more optimistic about the future. Obviously having a mini stroke is it's a big shock, you know, but I feel more in control now. The one thing and the one thing that they explained to me here in Croí is that you're going to fall off the wagon. You're going to fail, you know what I mean, at some stage, but don't beat yourself up. Just get back up and turn around and start all over again, start with the exercise. And indeed that did happen. I stopped doing the cardiovascular exercise and but I remembered what Therese was saying to me. Don't get discouraged. Just get back doing it again, you know. And you haven't failed, you know, you just keep going. So, and myself and Maura, I mean, it brought us closer together, my wife. It brought us closer together. And I think we probably have one of the fittest dogs on the west side of Galway because he comes with us walking up in Kappa Park and you know, and so we're both healthier, both fitter. Maura's terrible, you know, she competes with me and she's walking, you know, for the first half mile she's walking streets ahead of me, you know what I mean, and way ahead of me, you know, and I say, let her off. And then I catch up, you know. So it's fun as well as everything else. I'd say that about the programme here as well. Apart from being a fantastic facility with dedicated professional staff, the programme itself is enjoyable. It's fun. You get to meet people. Even the exercise programmes that they have, they make you laugh, you know what I mean? And playing things like, you know, mini football and stuff like that, and it's just good fun. I think Croí and Galway are hugely important to the people in the West. We have a hidden gem here in Galway. Croí is a hidden gem people haven't discovered and they don't know about. And as I said, it's not just some anonymous charity. These people do incredible work. They've had a huge impact on my life, on my wife's life. You know, I couldn't emphasize enough the importance, role that they play in Ireland and in Galway. And I believe that they're actually unique in Galway in delivering this particular programme. So Galway people, you're very lucky. I'm not sure where else around Ireland this programme is run, but if you have health concerns and somebody refers you to Croí, don't be sceptical. Go along, check it out. You'll be pleasantly surprised.